You literally can't make that up. There's a bald eagle flying over us right now. That was sick.
So when I bought the car, my calipers were red. Hey guys, coming out of the barn cave. We just figured today we'd do a quick update video on the Ford GT. I've owned it about 2 months. I've put 1,529 miles on this car. So we're gonna go through the car today and tell you what it's been like owning the car, daily driving it, all that good stuff. So stay tuned. Let's go check it out. Somebody,
Oh my goodness. But the beauty in ceramic is that comes off easily. Still there. Oh, you know what? Actually, this is not coated yet.
oh yeah, that's right. It's not coated.
So now I gotta buff that out. Thanks, Ben.
Not another boring Ford GT walk around, 550 horsepower. We're gonna drive this thing. You're coming along. Let's do it. There, we'll get the tires warmed up a little bit. All right, should we talk a little bit about the car? Okay, so as some of you know, or those of you that don't know me, I've owned a lot of supercars, a lot of classic cars, off-road touring cars. And I have to say, this car is almost 20 years old, and it is still, hands down, by far, the best car I've ever owned and driven. Hands down. I never get tired of driving of it. In fact, the previous owner owned it 2 years, put 250 miles on it. I've owned it less than 60 days, and I've put 1,529 miles on it, and I work from home most of the time. So yeah, don't tell my insurance company. No, it's just kidding. You know, I only live about an hour and a half from Blue Ridge Mountains. I've already taken it up there. It was, you know, it takes a little getting used to because you don't have any nannies. And you know, I'm used to driving like an R8 or a Lambo up there. And I've done some classic cars up there too, but it's different. You have to drive this car. But you know what the funny part is about this car? You have to drive it, but it also wants you to drive it, and it also is fairly tame. This car is not tame, but it's drivable. It feels comfortable. All your senses are going at all times in this car, even from the feel of the shifter, the way the clutch engages, everything is perfect, but it allows you a little bit of room to screw up. Does that describe it well?
Yeah.
It's so comfortable.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Are you ready? Not a blip over 45. Bro, this is a 2005 car. This is a 550 horsepower supercharged V8 out of the box. My car has not been modified other than the exhaust, and we put some HREs on it because that's what you do. They're awesome. Other than that, this is stock. And I think 0-60 is what, like, oh, there's the cop. So we just couldn't. That was good. So little late there, buddy. For almost a 20-year-old car, the fact that it's still competing with modern supercars is absolutely incredible. Ford, you killed it with this car. I know it had trouble selling in the beginning. I wish I had the money back then. I was broke. I was drowning in debt. I would have bought 100 of these freaking cars. You know, I mean, I'm joking, but you know, I want them all. I want all 4,037 GTs. But seriously, there are some downsides to this car, but they're a lot different than what you would think. There's no downside in the driving of this car, and obviously that's why I buy my cars. I drive every single one of my cars. The problem now is, though, there's a couple cars in my collection that are kind of getting the sidestep because I just always want to drive this. I did mention this car does everything, right? It's comfortable. Despite what everybody says, the seats are amazing. I love how the seat feel. You can tour this car. I've driven it, like I said, I've driven it almost over 1,500 miles, both canyon, highway driving, and it's just nice to sit in. The shifting is phenomenal. Like, the way this clutch engages, it's so easy. What's this? It's so easy. And I've driven a million stick cars, and this one just is one of the top, hands down. The sound. Here, let's do this. Do you hear the whine? And in person, it's at a whole new level. Like, it just, your hearing and your feel senses while you're driving this are just like spiked to red in a good way.
As a videographer and a photographer, it's always a challenge to portray the car as well as the car is in person. And I gotta say, this is the hardest car to capture how perfect it is in person, because it is just a well-built, beautiful car in person, and the ride and everything about it just feels as good as it looks, essentially.
Absolutely, hands down, you nailed it. I couldn't have said it any better. I am trying right now to find a place to turn around. Maybe this intersection will do it, because we want to get some outside footage for you guys, some flybys and stuff. So we're going to do that right over here. And we're going to hope that cop stayed over there somewhere.
You literally can't make that up. There's a bald eagle flying over us right now. That was sick. Dude, you wouldn't believe what just happened.
What's that?
So you were turning around back there, and a bald eagle flies over us.
No way!
Yes, I got it on
That's
camera.
sick.
It was almost perfect timing to where it was flying over you at the bridge at the same time.
It's meant to be. Everything that's meant to be happens when you're driving this car.
Absolutely. All right.
Oh. What do you think about the presence on the road?
Menacing.
Yeah. I don't get to see that, right? And I don't see many of these driving, so kind of relying on you to be the one. And in person, this car is even more sinister than it'll ever be in a video or a picture. Yep, unbelievable. I was having fun. I was like, I could do that all day. So there are some quirks with this car, and I think maybe we'll find a place to pull over. Shoot, we should have done back there.
Yeah.
We'll find a place to pull over, a new place, and we'll tell you about some of the quirks, some of the downsides to owning it. But I'm just so impressed with everything about how this drives. The shifts feel so good, so good. Let's see, 1,529 miles. I think the longest day I did in this car was 8 hours so far, and I think I took a couple breaks, stopped at the top of the mountain, but I mean, literally, I came back and I was like, I feel good.
Yeah.
Like, no issues. I don't buy my cars for public reaction. I just happen to like cars that people like, I guess. I don't know. I just enjoy driving my cars. I mean, it is a cool car, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see one driving down the street. But the public reaction to this car is insane. I've had the GT40s get very similar reactions. I had a purple Lamborghini Performante. Obviously, that one drew insane attention, but I'll tell you this, the attention that this gets versus the attention that Performante got are totally different. One was like the Perf is like, can I work for you? Can I have money? Wow, that's a crazy car. This car is like legendary American muscle.
Glad to see you driving.
Awesome, glad to see you're driving it. Yeah, nobody drives these. What are you doing? Like, car guy stuff. And that's what I love. I love it. Car needs to be shared with the world. There's only 4,037 built. I believe you could fact check me on that. There were going to be 4,700 built, and they decided it was selling so bad. I do know this, that they decided to stop production on the last cars. Yeah, but you know, these cars are going up in value, and I think a lot of guys that are buying them are starting to buy them as collectors, not as drivers, and it's a real shame. Perf was probably the most perfect car I've ever driven from a polish standpoint, but this you're engaged at all times. So when I bought this car, when I was going to HRE Wheels, the guy I bought the wheels through from Wheels Boutique, Ben, he said, you know, a lot of guys do there's an air ride / coilover, I think, or something. I don't know exactly the details. Sorry if I butchered that. I'm just a dumb owner. He said it totally transforms the car, but I gotta tell you, this stock suspension's fantastic. It's smooth, it feels planted, it takes corners really well. The brakes too, I mean, the car, Sorry, Miller. The car wants to stop. You know, it wants to stop and then it wants to go. The car feels big, I will tell you that. It feels like it takes up the whole lane, doesn't it? Even from your perspective.
Very wide.
Whereas the GT40 feels like I'm, you know, driving in only part of the lane. The seat position in this car versus the GT40, very similar. And by the way, we're going to do a 2005 Ford GT versus a GT40 review video in the future. I'll give you all my impressions. Miller can give you his. So some of the quirks, if you're not used to a car like this, the visibility, you would think the visibility was terrible. Now, obviously, I drive a lot of different cars. My Superformance GT40s, they're worse visibly, but the visibility for a supercar isn't terrible. The mirrors, the side mirrors, I just noticed this recently, they're offset, so I can actually see out of that one. That one is a little further back than this one, which is a total quirk, but it works. I'm not too tall, so this side pillar doesn't really bother me. Some people say that this creates a really bad blind spot, but I just go like this and I'm fine. One thing that my wife complains about all the time in cars is these. So this does not disconnect and go over here. That's one thing that I really don't like about this car, is that if I got the sun beating in on me, if I'm going to an early morning car show and the sun's coming up, it's just drilling me the whole time. But you know, that's a pretty minor thing. The gauge cluster, I really like. So I'm used to driving the GT40, right? And it's the same, it's almost the same exact setup where literally all the gauges, engine temps here, speedometers here. I really like the tax in front of me. I don't know why. Maybe because I like watching to when I need to shift. It's almost like those electronic steering wheels where it tells you red, 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 shift. It's kind of how I feel. I just watch out for red line. It makes it very easy. The speedometer being over here, you get used to it real quick. It's a quick pop over. I'm not really too concerned about speed in this car. I probably should be more concerned because
it's easy to go fast in really low car.
It's easy to go really fast in this car. So maybe for someone just getting in this car for the first time, the gauges would be a little confusing. Do you think so?
I think I would look down and try to see how fast I'm going and have to look over. I think that'd be tricky to catch on to.
Yeah. So we're gonna pull over in here. In fact, we could do it right here. I don't think they're getting any deliveries. We're behind the Harris Teeter. I'll shut it down. Let's sit here and chat for 1 second, because there's a couple things in here that you're gonna laugh about. One thing is, where the heck do you put your phone, right? So this has super old school radio. It's literally like turn off and then the click, you know, to turn on. And I was like, how am I gonna hook the radio up to my phone? So I found this little device on Amazon, and what it does is it tunes into a certain radio station when you have it on, and then it'll sync to your phone via Bluetooth and play through the cigarette lighter, which is kind of cool, and it works great. The other thing, I was like, where am I gonna mount the phone? I really don't like in the GT40, I literally had nowhere to mount the phone, so I put it on the windshield, and I'm such an anti-suction cup guy. I mean, look, my radar is blend mount, which totally cleans it up, by the way. Blend mount is the only way to mount these things. They're an amazing company. I found this on Amazon, and it works really well. There's this little platform for any of you GT owners that are watching this that's just the right size for this thing, and it fits perfect. So my phone, I literally hop in and I go like this and it's done. That's it. And then when I want to get out of the car, it's done. So easy. So that's cool. As far as charging the car, one thing that it doesn't have any more ports, and this is just USB. They probably make them with the little thing that'll hook. I don't know if they do to the radio, but I use a USB-C charger. So I've got this little portable charger, and I can just hook it up. It's a fast charger, and then I can just have it mounted in here and plug it in and still listen to the radio. It was funny, when I went on the mountain drive, I didn't have that in the car, and I had a regular cord, and I couldn't listen to radio and charge at the same time. My phone was about to die. So luckily I was in the mountains, and I wanted to hear the motor anyway. This thing here, this is a little quirky, but I think it's really cool at the same time because I've never seen anything like this before in a car. So I actually like it. It's weird. It's the sub. Yep. And this was, I think, one of the 4 options on these cars originally. So this, by the way, is a 4-option car. If you buy one, that's what a lot of people tell you to look for, because they have the highest value for resale. My biggest quirk about this car, well, 2 of them. One, there is no storage. There's no glove box. So you have this little thing here. I've got a little net down here in front of me in the seat, and then you can just stuff stuff behind you. So my position, luckily I'm not too tall. I have adequate space behind me here. and we'll show you the trunk in a second. But number 2 is the darn cup holders. I'm a cup holder guy. I've built some classic pro touring cars. This is the cheapest cup holder I've ever got for a car, and it works great when I have no passengers. So this is what I use. I kept this after I got the smoothie. I just use it, and they laugh at me every time I go to get one. It's so funny. So I just keep it behind the seat, and yeah. Except when Miller drives with me, he actually holds the cup. He'll hold the cup. Yeah, it's awesome. And his somehow. You just kind of do it. I think that's it for inside. The doors, but you all know about that, right? I am not tall enough to get decapitated, but there's some guys that I've let sit in it. I'm like, you better put your head to the side. Let's go out. Let's go outside and talk about the car for a sec. A couple other quirks behind this car. I really like it. You need a key. Probably if you've been following GT reviews and stuff online, you know you need the key to get into both the gas tank and the front hood. There we go. There is no storage. I mean, I have a trickle charger in there, and that's it. So literally, your storage is nothing here. And so when we go on Corsa Rally for Exotic Fest later this year, Miller and I think we're just going to ship our bags, and then we're going to hopefully they get there. Hopefully. Because if we have to go to the store and pick some up, there's no place to put anything we bought either. We just stuff it behind the seat. Yeah. Doors, pretty cool. Let me show you a quirk though with the engine. So a lot of guys say that you need 2 people to open this trunk. That's for people that don't drive their cars. I don't mind getting watch this. Step there, step in, problem solved. Some people actually buy a bar that goes across. I just don't give a shit, so I just step on my seat. Sorry, it's just me. I don't think I'm ever gonna sell this car. So another quirk too, sometimes it does not latch, so you have to kind of test to make sure. Maybe that's just mine. I don't know. Any other GT owners? You had a problem with that before?
It's hard to find the quirks on this car. You have to nitpick it to find the bad things.
You have to nitpick why you hate this car, and because there's nothing.
Because there's nothing to hate.
I don't hate anything on this car. I could with like the storage, don't care. The knob cup holders, don't care. Found little solutions for them, right? I just love this car. I absolutely love this car. I love everything about this car. I wish, and soon, I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna try to find somewhere I'm gonna get so comfortable. I wanna be sliding this car all over the place and doing donuts. I just wanna have fun. Now, my car is completely stock. Let's talk a little bit about the car and my process of buying it. How's that sound? That's kind of cool. I looked for this car for 2 years and was watching them like every week, new listings. Sometimes I'd miss it, sometimes I look once a month. I really wanted one, and it sucked because I watched the price like just keep going up. And when I finally got in a position where I was like, you know what? I talked to my wife and I'm like, hey, listen, I don't want to regret in 2 years not buying one again because they've gone up significantly. So I'm just gonna do it. I moved a couple other cars and just made it happen. The reason it took so long is because these only hit the market so often. They only made so many, and they only come up for sale so often. When you're buying one, there's certain things you want to look for depending on what you're going to do with it. I wanted a black with silver stripes. I really like the tungsten cars too. They only made those in 2006, but a premium color is great for resale on the back end if you plan on reselling it later. I really don't plan on reselling this car, but if I had to, I've got a high demand version. I think they made just over 300 out of the 4,000 and something with the black with the silver stripes, and that's between both years. You also want to get a 4-option car, 4 options. You can look that up. I think it's the stripes, the side stripes. These were actually one of the options, the brake calipers being painted, the stereo, and one other thing, and I forget what that is. You can look it up. The radio. That's option 4. So when I bought the car, my calipers were red. I can't stand red calipers on cars, especially the early model cars. So I painted them like a satin titanium. I thought it looked good. It kind of gave it kind of a sinister look. And then obviously the HREs were a must. The exhaust is an aftermarket. I think it's a aluminum X-pipe. The previous owner put that on there. Very happy with it. From inside the car, when I do videos, people are like, "You're gonna get an exhaust?" And I'm like, "I have an exhaust." But from outside the car, sounds great. And I have the stock exhaust at my house too. I keep it in the shed. One of the things I've been thinking about doing is a bumper delete. I really like when you get rid of the rear bumper and it has that GT40 look to it. The problem is, believe it or not, it takes a lot of structural changes from what I've read and understand. It's like $5,000–6,000 to do it. And I'm like, I like the car plenty. I think I've said it all. Drive your cars, right? Drive your cars. If you can afford to buy one of these and you're buying it as an investment, it's got some miles on it. Dude, if you can afford to buy one, just drive it, please. Like, the world deserves to see this car. The car community deserves to see it. You make enough money. If you could buy one, you make enough money already. You got plenty of investments going on, right? I hope. So drive. Here I am lecturing high net worth individuals on driving their cars. That's it. That's all I got for you. I mean, thank you. Thank you for coming and taking a ride along. Sorry for the background fan. I didn't realize I was there. There's gonna be a lot more of this car on the channel. We're gonna have some fun in this thing, amongst other stuff. And I think the next video we do, Miller, should be a review. Since this is fresh, we'll do a review between this and the GT40. And we'll do back-to-back drives and driving footage. So stay tuned for that. Love having you. Thank you for subscribing and following the channel, and I look forward to seeing you next time.